Hello everyone, welcome back to the gaming room. My name is Victor, and today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different that I haven't done in the channel yet. What we're gonna be doing is a video essay. If you don't know what a video essay is, it's pretty much a long video explaining or going over something very specific from being a movie, a film, a game, whatever it is. You're just going like really in depth to it. And I decided to give it a try this week, right? And the topic that we are going to be talking today is Avengers Endgame and Game of Thrones The Long Night. Both which, well, coincidentally aired in the same week. And even though one of them is a superhero movie, and the other one is, well, it's super dark and moody Game of Thrones, they do share a lot of similarities. More specific, they're both the conclusion of an epic story that has been told for around 10 years. So they do share a lot of that, and at the same time they do share a lot of and their conclusions in the battles and how they did it. So if you're interested in that, please stick around, give it a like, and subscribe because I do videos every week talking about movies and TV in general, right? So let's get started, right? I said they are stories that have been told for around 10 years, and that is true, right? Game of Thrones started around 2010, 11, and until we were up to 2019 when the aired was like, well, 9 years, right? Marvel had 11 because of the movies and all of that, but they still, what was the epic saga they were talking about? And both of them was a really big, the big bad, the villain of everything, either being the Night King or Thanos. Well, they were coming for everyone. They were going to either wipe out everyone or just half of the union. And they both had similar setups for when we were going to have those final battles. Because in the Avengers side, in the Marvel, the MCU, the heroes had lost the first battle. Thanos won. He snapped his fingers. Half of the world, the population of the universe, has died. Right? He won. So everyone was broken and beaten up until there was a chance to undo the snap with the time travel. While in Game of Thrones, the characters were starting to come together against the common goal of defeating the Night King. Not everyone, but still. And what is the last thing we know before heading to the last season? The wall has fallen, the wall that has stood there for thousands of years to help the realms of man. It was destroyed. So the heat was on, right? Both of those villains were winning at that time, and just a miracle could stop them. While in the MCU, the miracle made sense. Game of Thrones didn't. So let's go into those things, right? First of them, it's the build-up, right? And I think both of them did a great build-up. They made us interested on what was happening. Who was those characters? Why was the threat real? That all worked, right? And we have that for just being. And why do we have that? Well, the scripts were always developed to create this atmosphere, this fear of those characters. And when we met the Night King for the first time on season 4, it was really creepy. It was just like this guy touching the babe and turning him on the White Walker. And then we have it again when you see him for the second time on Hardhome, when he just resurrects everyone just by like lifting his arm up, right? And he's staring to Jon Snow, what that time was becoming our main hero. And then again and again, every time we hear something new from him, or when it's in 6, when you have Brands looking through the visions in the Werewolf 3, what does Bran see? He sees the Night King getting, well, being born, and he was forced. So that gives us a hint of, oh, maybe he's not that bad after all, or something like it. We have him just like being able to see Bran and touch him in the visions. Even more to this powerful enemy we are dealing with, right? All this setup, Marvel, we have Thanos. Everyone hates the guy. Everyone is afraid of him, right? We have Gamora and Nebula talking about Avengers Infinity War, where he's the main hero. And that was the right call because all the other characters we spent 11 years with, we know those characters now, but we didn't know Thanos. We just heard stories about him. So make him the main character was the right choice. We learned about him, cared about him, because his plan, even though it was ludicrous, it was believable that what he was doing. He didn't want to kill everyone because he was evil. He was trying to help in a messed up way, but he was trying to help people. I remember when the movie aired and people were talking. Was he wrong? Was he right? And that debate just it's just good. People get to talk about that because most of the times when the villain explains their goal, it just doesn't make sense or it's just boring. And that's the case with the Night King. He just want to kill everyone because he does. That's the excuse. People didn't care about it. People didn't buy that. While Thanos, everyone was like, maybe there's something to it, right? And in an amazing performance and he winning the end of the first movie, everyone was on. Everyone bought it. Everyone bought that villain. Why we have the Night King being mysterious? Everyone was still intrigued. Why was he coming? Why now? Right? We still wanted many answers. And answers we all expected to have because it was something critical to our story. While in one side we have a whole movie just to tell the story of this character. In this show, we had a flashback scene where the character doesn't speak. And the other one, we have Bran saying he wants to kill everyone. But why? Right? You don't give us the explanation. Many people start theorizing even after episode 3 aired, where the Night King is dead, people were still theorizing he was coming back. That there was more to it because it was unsatisfying, right? We didn't know everything about those characters. We didn't know what was happening there. We needed more. It was not just because we're fans and we want more of the show. No, it's more like we're just wanting to understand the story they're trying to tell us, right? And that doesn't mean that only the super hardcore fans were curious about the Night King. No, everyone was. Everyone that watched the show was curious, wasn't getting what just happened. So let's talk about the battle. The battle is similar in several ways, honestly. However, now let's talk about the battles, right? And they are very, very similar in several different ways. While we have the heroes coming together against the main villain, as I talked before, and explaining where we were with those villains, this was the final battle. That was the one. Heroes in the MCU joining their forces in very different ways that we haven't seen so far. In ways where they're combining their powers to fight against Thanos. While in Game of Thrones, we had different armies. Obviously, people didn't have superpowers there except Bran. But they were different armies. We have dragons this time. It was going to be a huge battle. We have almost all the arms of Westeros together against the Night King. So, what do we expect is different tactics, different fighting ways to see the battle so it doesn't get boring. Because for a battle to be boring, it can be really, really, really easy. Because if you're going to do a medieval battle, it's just a bunch of guys with swords and shields. That can get boring really quickly, unless you have a good choreography, which they did in the past. Like, look at the Battle of the Bastards. They have a really nice choreography. You were invested in the whole episode, right? And it was not a battle with dragons and everything. No. One thing that adds to a good battle in anything, movies, TV shows, or even games, is different ways to show the battle. Because again, if you have a good choreography, that already improves a lot the way you can enjoy that battle. But having different ways to show it, I think is even better. Because you don't see only the regular shot where the character is fighting and then he had some cuts, then change, he's cutting another guy there. That can also get boring, but if you have like different shots of everything, different ways, creative ways to show how the battle is going. And one of the best ways to do it is the oneers. What are oneers? Oneers is when you don't cut, right? And that it's a good way that you don't have to work or study film to realize how cool that is. Yes, if you study and work with it, you're gonna see and look, oh, that's a oneer. But if you don't, you're just gonna look at it and say, this is really cool because it's different and it fills your eyes. You get excited about it, right? And how do we know that everyone loves that? We have great fight scenes that everyone talks about. Pretty much all the hallway scenes in Daredevil. We have John Wick or Atomic. All those movies have amazing oneers. They have long ones that people love to see that, especially for fight scenes, because it looks real. It adds a depth of realism and intensity and excitement to the scene that is key. And both of those battles that we're talking today, the Endgame one and the Long Night, do that. In the Endgame is right after Captain America says Avengers Assemble, where all the heroes are together. The camera keeps following them, and we have a bunch of superheroes joining their powers together to destroy the enemy. We have Thor shoving his the Stormbreaker into the ground so the thunder comes out of it. We have giant Ant-Man punching one of the Chitauri ships in the face. We have, while that's happening, we have Valkyrie coming down with Pegasus and killing some of them. We have all the Black Panther characters fighting with like their backs to each other. So we have the Black Panther like jumping around. We have Shuri with her blasters, Okoye with her spear. We have Drax coming up and jumping behind the giant monster in the back and punching him. And we have not punching, stabbing him. And we have Korg punching the monster in the face as well. And then right before we cut, we go up to the sky where we had Tony and Pepper, this time on her suit, fighting together side by side for the blasters and the beams coming out of everywhere, right? That just fills your eye. And they do that a couple of more times with the heroes, and every time it's different heroes joining forces together. The prowess to create something visually cool and interesting to watch. And what is the wonder that we have in Game of Thrones in the Long Night? It's where Jon Snow is running through a shed, and Viserion, the undead Viserion, is spitting the blue fire. So Jon runs, then he comes back because the fire was going to hit him. Then he goes forward. He sees the dragon and he hits behind a wall. That's the wonder we have there. Even though God made very cool two wonders in battles before. The one with Jon Snow in season 6 on Battle of the Bastards, right? Where we have him alone fighting and we have almost all the enemies surrounding Jon, but he's still fighting and succeeding. Great wonder. We have the wonder when Daenerys burns down the Lannister army in season 7, where we follow Bronn. It's very simple because it's literally just Bronn running away for one single Dothraki while he managed to get the Scorpion to shoot Drogon. That wonder has around 1 minute, maybe a little bit more than that. And it's literally just Bronn running away from a Dothraki to activate the thing. And it's 10 times better than Jon Snow hiding behind a wall. The way to shoot the battle is not to do a battle. And I'm gonna explain that. For example, if we're going to do like either a long battle scene like in the Avengers, which is around the half an hour, 40 minutes, or the whole episode in Game of Thrones case, if you're just gonna be seeing all this time the battle, even though you can have the good choreography and everything, people will get tired of seeing the same thing over and over. So you start adding different layers into the battle. One of them that Game of Thrones did, and I think they did it well, is when Arya goes into the library on Winterfell, right? She's running away from some of the whites, and she ends up into the library, and where she has to be sneaky. It's not the crazy heat of the battle that is outside. No, it's silence. She has to be stealth, and she has to use her abilities as a assassin to get through there. It's tense, it's well shot, it's dark, but enough to see. It's cool. It's something different for us to see. Then we have in Avengers, what do we have? We have a sort of a game of tag, or something like it, where they gotta keep passing the gauntlet to the next Avenger so Thanos doesn't catch it. It's a race, right? We have Clint running away with that, and then he throws to Chalem, gets that. He runs. Then he throws to Spider-Man. Spider-Man catches that. He flies away, and then Pepper helps him. And then Valkyrie gives another lift, and then the Cap throws Mjolnir. And so Peter Parker can run a little bit faster, and then Captain Marvel shows up to catch that a last time before we come back to the battle. So that's a nice break that we have there. While in the background, we can see some of the fighting happening. We are focusing on the race this time. We don't get out of the battle. We don't get pulled off because we are seeing something cool. We have a nice battle scene there. Now we're going for a race. Then we go back to the battle. It's just to break the rhythm so it doesn't get too tiresome for us to watch. Let's talk a little bit more on the side of prophecies, let's say. Even though the MCU doesn't have prophecies, what we do have is the case of the chosen one or the main hero and the whole fight, the whole relationship with the main bad guy, right? And we have Tony since the events of the first Avenger where he sacrificed himself. After that, he gets a little bit crazy about defending Earth, right? Hence, Age of Ultron happens because he's trying to protect everyone. He's the one that, after Infinity War, he's the one that is the only one that's able to pull, to get some blood out of Thanos, right? And Thanos is impressed. Thanos himself says he respects Tony Stark. We have Tony Stark being the first on the MCU, right? The first movie. He is the main character that we have there. Iron Man is the main one. We have him being depressed in Endgame and wanting to reverse everything. He's a little bit obsessed with the whole thing of undoing the snap and being able to bring back everyone, more specifically Peter Parker. But he's this guy. Everyone knew he was the main one, and everyone knew, especially after he was the one who took blood out, who made Thanos bleed. Everyone knew he was special, right? While in Game of Thrones, we had something very similar happening to Jon Snow. Since the beginning, we have the mystery who Jon Snow's mother is. Right? And the show just goes even deeper to tell us how important that is. Until we find out it was Lyanna Stark and the father being Rhaegar Targaryen. Right? He's the Song of Ice and Fire. He's the name of the goddamn series of books. Right? He's the heir of the Iron Throne. The rightful heir. Right? And if that wasn't good enough for us, he has this special lineage, right? He is the king, he's the true king, and he also believes in the fight against the others, against the White Walker. He's been trying to rally everyone there. He knows the dangers of the Night's King and his army, but no one believes him. And the Night's King has more than once looked into his eyes in a very "I'm gonna get you" way. The same way I would say that Thanos looks at Iron Man and says, "I respect you." Right? And then, to cap it all off, we have Jon Snow being killed and then being resurrected. And everyone knows when you resurrect a character, that's because he got a role to play. He has a role to play, right? And everyone knew it. Everyone thought, oh, he's coming back because he needs to kill the Night King, right? And everyone was okay with that because that's where the story was going. That was the story that was being told. Jon is special. He is the one that's going to help us, right? And we have in some of the prophecies in Game of Thrones of the Azor Ahai, the prince was promised, the one that's going to bring us light and everything. So we expected, on one side to Tony Stark kill Thanos, and the other to Jon Snow kills the Night King, to defeat him. However, just one of them actually happened. Tony did kill Thanos. John hid behind a wall, and then he shouted at a dragon. Why? I don't know. Why we have our main hero in one side, Tony, giving his best. He was not able to just create a time travel for them and everything. In the fight itself, he was helping. We have multiple times, especially in the beginning of the fight, where we just have him, Cap, and Thor fighting together. We have him beating the crap out of Thanos. We have him being charged with Thor's lightning so he can get like a super being against Thanos. We have also Infinity War, Tony destroying a. We also have in Infinity War Tony being able to beat a lot of Thanos and make him bleed, right? So we have that. And after the Avengers comes back and they assemble, we also have more shots of Tony. We have him constantly going back and fighting against Thanos to try to steal the gauntlet. I have this kind of this tug of war right before the end of the battle, where Thanos and Tony are trying to like pull the gauntlet off until he manages to get the stone in a very climatic way to kill him. And the last words of the character are the last words of the first move that started it all off, which is I am Iron Man. He snaps his finger, he doesn't say anything else. He destroyed the villain. He finished it. They started Marvel selling for 11 years. He capped it all off. It was sad. It was entertaining. It paid off everything we've been expecting so far. And at the same time, it was beautiful. He was not Tony Stark. He was Iron Man, right? We have in the beginning of this movie, Pepper telling him, you should rest. It's over now, unfortunately. And now that but he couldn't rest. He needed to save everyone. That was his complex. He had a superhero complex. He needed to save everyone, and he did, right? Not everyone from Earth or something like, no, he saved the whole universe. Then he dies, and Pepper says, you can rest now. And he does. He sacrificed everything so he could save everyone. And that is a character arc fulfilled. Everyone, I haven't met anyone who was angry that he died. Everyone was sad that he died because everyone cared about the character. But it was a death that everyone expected that was going to happen. No one wanted to because everyone loves him, but we expected, and that was where the story was leading up to, and we got an amazing payoff and an amazing acting from Robert Downey Jr. When you go to Game of Thrones, everyone was frustrated because we spent 7 years, right? 7 seasons with Jon Snow being the one. And especially after season 7, when you find out everything about the mother and he's the rightful heir and everything, we were expecting something big happen with Jon in season 8, in the last season of the show, right? In the battle, Jon eats in the top of a dragon. Even though it's a cool nod to him being riding the dragon named after his father, he didn't do anything on that dragon, right? Most of the time he was just like, he didn't know what he was doing. He was lost because he never rode a dragon before. He didn't know how to do that. Throughout the show, we were told that Jon was one of the best swordsmen in Westeros, and he doesn't use his sword in this episode. He wasn't a dragon. Why? Because then the battle would be over sooner than they wanted. So there was this script just dragging the whole thing so he can do the 1.5 hour episode. But okay, once he comes down off the dragon, he rushes through the Night King. We are expecting the fight over there. It doesn't. The Night King stops, and Jon stops. Why? Then the Night King resurrects everyone. That was a cool scene, and Jon has to fight against the resurrected ones now. Wouldn't be my choice, but okay, I can get that. I can buy that. Fast forward a little bit, the Night King is going through to catch Bran, and Jon is nowhere to be seen. Oh yeah, because he's hiding behind the wall. And have his area, right? The dragon is there, he's hurt because of the fight against the other 2 dragons. Jon keeps getting up and shouting at the dragon, which doesn't make sense. He shouts at the dragon, he hides. He gets up, shouts at the dragon, hides. He does that twice, and no one understands why. He doesn't do anything. And then Arya shows up in the end, and she's the one who kills the Night King, a character that just found out about the Night King an episode ago, 2 episodes ago. A character that doesn't have any kind of special lineage or prophecies kills the Night King, kills the main bad guy while Jon was shouting at a dragon. He doesn't even kill the dragon. If he at least had killed the dragon, so Arya could get to the Night King, that would be better. So that thing doesn't pay off, right? It doesn't pay off Jon Snow's arc, because his arc was never going to be about the Iron Throne. The show made it specifically that it wasn't. They pointing us in the direction of being against the army of the dead. That was his arc, against the dead. And then they don't pay that off. They take it away from Jon Snow, his arc, and give it to Arya. They rob the character of its conclusion. Why? So they can subvert our expectations, right? That's not how it works. If you want to subvert the expectations, that's one thing. But not finishing a character, and even especially when you told us for several years, several seasons, that there was the story that you guys were telling, and then robbing that from the audience and the character will frustrate us. And then you cannot be mad at the audience if you stole the character's arc and the conclusion that you set up for years and seasons along. You just steal that and give it to a character that has nothing to do with that storyline. Jon doesn't do anything in the battle. He's useless. If you take Jon Snow out of the final battle, the main character of the show doesn't have to be in the final battle against the biggest villain of the show. You can take him away and the outcome is exactly the same. Now, one last thing to mention is the characters that cannot help as much in the battle, otherwise that would never happen. Doctor Strange. He knew everything that was going to happen, and so did Bran. Doctor Strange couldn't help in the battle itself because he couldn't change what was going to happen, and he tells us that. Because if he was going there and telling Tony, oh, this and this will happen, and this, and then you kill yourself in the end so you can save people, Tony probably would try to find another way so he doesn't die, so he can still be with his family and friends. I'm not much of a fan of the excuse that Doctor Strange can't be fighting much because he has to hold the water. He wasn't really important for bringing everyone back to the fight when he started opening the portals, so we have him using his powers to help a lot in the battle, and then we have him holding the water, okay, but then he's the one that he just looks at Tony and does this. That is everything the character needed to do so Tony Stark could finish Thanos off. Even though I would love to see more of Doctor Strange, I get why he couldn't mess with the timeline, and the most important thing is the movie tells us that. We didn't have to be theorizing why Doctor Strange couldn't help in the battle. The movie tells us why he couldn't. While we have on the other side Bran, who we haven't never really understood why he was important. We saw the visions where Bran was learning about Jon Snow's lineage. Okay, that didn't help anything in the story at all, I might add. So all Bran Stark's arc was useless as well. But in one of his main stories, just as Jon Snow, was tied in with the Night King and the Army of the Dead. So we were expecting something. What at least everyone expected was Bran to give us the answers of what was actually happened, but he doesn't. And the excuse he does, it's ass. The only thing he says is the Night King wants to kill everyone. But why? It's not like Thanos tells, I want to kill half of the universe so I can help the other half because there's no food. No, The Night King wants to kill everyone, and we have to think an excuse why he wants to do that. So when you have Bran, and he says he's going to be the bait for the Night King. Okay, because Night King wants to kill Bran for some reason, so he was going to be the bait. Okay, I get that. I can buy that, no problem. And then Bran says to Theon in the middle of the battle, "I'm going to go now," and then he doesn't do anything. He flies away with the ravens. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't get help. He doesn't attack people. All you needed to do, HBO, was simply put a couple of the ravens going through some of the white skulls. You just do like some of the ravens, they go through the skulls of the zombies, and we would understand that Bran was helping killing some of the whites. If you do that, many people, including me, would be less frustrated, because then we could say, oh, he was doing something. He wasn't completely just useless, like he was. And then we have the Night King arriving to meet Bran and to kill him. Bran doesn't do anything there either. He just looks at him. And that was it. Night King dies. And no one touches the subject ever again. Bran never gives us the answers. Bran never tells us what was the role that Jon needed to fulfill. Bran never talks about the prophecies of the Azor Ahai or anything. Bran never says anything about the White Walkers ever again. What was the point of giving this character the powers that he had against the enemy that they were going to face if he couldn't face them? Even though Dr. Strange didn't help as much himself fighting, he brought all the armies there. He teleported everyone there so everyone could fight. Bran didn't do that. He didn't do anything. He was just sitting there. And that was it for his character too. And then the character that was going to show us about Jon's lineage in the end actually stole also that from Jon the Throne. And the last thing before I finish this video is something I like to call the roller coaster that I think all the battles should have, which is the emotional roller coaster. If the battle is always like one-sided, this is going to be our emotion. Example, watch the last battle for Game of Thrones, the one against Cersei. Daenerys just destroys everyone and no one cares. The only time you have a different emotion is when the script says, whatever, and Daenerys kills everyone, like the innocent people. The emotion goes like this. But we're talking about the Long Night. Our emotions in the beginning, they are going like this because we are, oh, the Dothraki are all gone now. Oh my god, did this character die? Oh no. Wait, did Brienne die? No. Wait, was that Sam? He's the one in the ground? Oh no, he's alive. So in the beginning, we were getting excited because we thought that our characters, our beloved characters, were dying. But the show immediately would show us that no, he's fine, don't worry, it was just an extra. So around halfway through the episode, we stopped caring about the deaths of the characters because they were not actually dying. So our emotions go they don't go as high as before. They're like, oh, okay, he's not dying. But when some of the characters die, it's great death scene like Lyanna Mormont killing the giant. That was awesome. But the battle is a little bit steady in the way where it's always the Night King and his army destroying everything on their way. So we don't go as high as in Endgame where it's like this. Where we have the beginning, we have the three main Avengers, right? Thor, Cap, and Iron Man fighting against Thanos, joining their forces, using their powers, and to defeat Thanos. We are cheering, and then Thanos gets the upper hand and starts beating everyone. You're like, oh no! Then Captain lifts up Mjolnir. Everyone, yes! He beats the shit out of Thanos. He's summoning the lightning. He's using the shield and Mjolnir together. Everyone is cheered. Thanos is managed to swipe him. Managed to break the shield and throw Caps away. Motion goes, whoa! Portals are going back. Everyone is back together. Beautiful, amazing music. Everything's perfect. Our emotions high there. Then Captain says his famous lines. Avengers, assemble. even higher, even higher. And we go into the battle, we go to the one that I mentioned before, we go to the race we were going before, and in the middle, we have scenes where our heroes are winning, then Thanos wins. His army does something that wins. For example, Thanos is almost dying because of Scarlet Witch. Love her, by the way. Is killing him. Ran fire. Everyone starts dying. And that, so we were like this, oh, Thanos is losing. Oh no, he's winning. Oh, Captain Marvel showed up to save the day. Cool. Oh, Thanos destroyed the time machine. Oh, Captain Marvel was able, with Tony Stark, they were able to get the gauntlet back. Oh, but Thanos used one of the used the Power Stone to push them away. Damn it. Oh, Doctor Strange is giving us hope now, just like letting us know that this is the one. Thanos snapped his fingers. We're like, oh, what? Tony actually stole the stones and he snaps his fingers, destroying Thanos. Our emotions are always like this in that battle. While we don't have the same thing in God. Even though when the Night King died and I was shocked, was not the yes, it was what? I was confused. And I know that I'm not alone in this. Well, thank you everyone. If you enjoyed this long ass video, because I know it's gonna be long. If you enjoyed the video, I say please give it a like, subscribe, let me know down below what do you think and if you agree. And well, I catch you in the next one.